Okay, YouTube, it's now Saturday, July 11th. The water pump, as you seen in the last video, we have confirmed that it doesn't leak, and it was the cause of my vibration and noise, or at least one of them, that on top of the hydraulic pump, which I told you at the end of the last video, is doing great and quiet too. So the next thing we're going to do, we went ahead and change the oil. Oh, and I've also drained the water out, in case you was wondering. Put antifreeze in it, 1 gallon of 100% antifreeze, and I think it took another actually a full gallon of mixed. I had some that was mixed, so that should be a good enough mixture. So what we're going to do in this video, we're going to go ahead and take this old canister oil filter off. I'm going to show you how it kind of sucks to get it off, mostly because of the rounded off bolt. I could get a new bolt for it. You can get those, but I just want to go ahead and change over to the spin-on oil filter. And something else I told you I want to confirm, here is the kit in here. All it is this plate. That seal goes under the plate, between the block and the plate. The filter goes on this surface here. This little screw-in adapter will hopefully fit in there. If not, I'm going to have to figure something out. It's supposed to work. But anyway, I think I told you I wanted to confirm that that filter that came with the kit is the same as your standard Ford Motorcraft FL1A filters or a Fram PH8A filter. And there you go. This filter here is the old one off the 66 F100. And that confirms what I want to confirm. That means that every time I want to change oil, I don't have to order a filter, and I can just run up to the nearest auto parts store and get me a filter. So let's get this thing off. Okay, the sun's kind of making it hard for me to see in the screen here. I hope you got a good view of this. I'm going to show you how to get the old canister filter off. How much of a pain in the butt it can be. It's not that hard, but it should be easier. We're talking about just changing oil. Record is on, isn't it? Yep, it is. Always double check that when you're making a video. You never know when your camera is not on, when you think it's on. And this is the ritual I usually do to get this old rounded off bolt out, which, like I said, I could order a new one, but I'd just rather get the spin-on filter. You just got to break it loose with this. And then I can take a 3/4 inch wrench. I can talk a little louder now. My neighbor fired up his lawnmower and he's not staring at me like I'm crazy. I'm thinking about putting up a privacy fence. Probably bothers me more than it should, but I'm sure he can see this far. They can see this far. Sometimes his wife is out there. And it's obvious that I'm holding a camera and narrating a video. Like, no one ever does that before. I shouldn't let it bother me and just do what I do. But people, I don't know if it's a Kentucky thing or what, people in Kentucky are just always act like everything that you do that they don't do is odd because they don't do it. I like messing with my old Fords. Okay. Let me flip that screen so that I know for sure you can see what I want to show you. And I got oily fingers. It's very hard for me to see. I can kind of see the screen. But I just wanted to show you this. Inside this canister is this, for those of you who are curious about the original setup. Here is your filter right here. Okay, I'm trying to confirm that you can see it. I think you can. That sun is very bright. I'm not complaining. I'm glad to see the sun. And inside of it is the spring. This big bolt here has got a rubber seal, not allowing me to pull it out. Get this off. Normally I could just leave all that together. I just wanted to show you. Maybe I should just hold it up to the camera. There you go. Show you inside it. That rubber seal goes way up against the bottom there. You can see this big big boat. It's like an oil galley shaft thing. Lets all the oil come out through the filter. And rubber seal goes up against the block. Let me get a cleaner rag. I've seen all kinds of dirt fly off of that. Okay, back now. Let's see. I'm gonna make sure all this is going to work out. Clean this rubber O-ring seal surface off. Looks like my gasket or O-ring seal is the correct size. I'm just going to leave that stuck up in there. And right here, and guess what? I laid my little adapter nut down somewhere. I gotta remember where I put it. I might have to go back and watch the video because I just had it on video. Thought I had put it. If you're watching this video, you've probably seen where I laid it down and are laughing at me, but I can't remember where I put my screw-in adapter thing. Let me pause the camera. Found it. I laid it on the truck bed. I'm not sure if that was me actually sitting on the truck bed was on video or not. It may have been when I went to get the tripod. I don't know. Now, let's see. Here's the latest right here. This takes a 1-inch wrench, I think. Yep, sure does. Flip the camera lens around again. Let me get some clean oil right here in front of me. Alright. I'm going to rub a little clean oil on the surface. It is going to meet that seal. What I ought to do, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to wet my seal with some clean oil. Just do that. Sometimes you can use Vaseline. Making sure you can see here. Like I said, it's very hard to see what the camera is pointed at with that bright sun. But I'm not complaining because it's not raining. Even though it is hot and humid, I'm still not complaining about it. Now, this goes long end, I think, goes out. See the threads. One end is longer than the other. I think the short end goes to the block. This face right here faces the block. Matter of fact, it says top right here, so that's telling me it's probably facing towards the filter. Feels like the adapter. I'm gonna check one thing. I'm pretty sure it doesn't matter. There's an oil galley right down here at the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and line these hose up with it. I don't think it matters because oil is going to fill this area up anyway, and it's going to eventually get out of them hose and into the filter. But we're going to do it that way anyhow. You know what? I'm thinking, guess what? I think the long end of the threads goes to the block. It has to, because I could only get 2 or 3 threads in there. And it would be very easy for me to strip them out without tightening it very much. 1-inch wrench went somewhere. I may end up getting a socket. There we go. Yeah, I'm going to need a socket. Can't really get that wrench straight on there. a 1-inch socket. Pause the camera. I'm trying to keep my videos from being too long. Man, I cannot see nothing in this sun. Okay, hopefully we're recording. Got my wrench and my socket, 1-inch socket, like I said. Fits right on that fitting. Don't want to go. Oh, yeah, hot. I don't think it was anything. I think it just popped into the seat. Maybe it wasn't. There we go. We don't want to over tighten that. That scared me. I thought something broke, but I don't think it did. Pretty sure it didn't. I think that the edge of it was just hooked on a corner here and not exactly flat, and it just popped in, which is a good thing. Let's not go too crazy with that 1/2-inch drive there. Okay, now all we gotta do is, this is something we all know how to do, just lube that up. Let's hope this fits in here, and yes it does. Hands are all greasy, slick. I'll probably put a filter wrench on it. A lot of people say just hand tighten them. I usually put a wrench on it and just give it a little bit. A lot of times this is good enough. You don't want them super tight. Just crush that seal. I'll probably get a filter wrench before I start it up. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and put my huge drain plug in, fill it up with oil. We don't want to forget to do that, do we? And hopefully it'll fire up. Oil pressure will show good, and everything will be good. In case you're wondering, this oil drain plug, this great big huge one, is a 1-inch wrench also. Let me pause the camera while we get this filled up. Okay, it's full of oil now. I went ahead and wiped all the oil I spilt while doing that off of the side of the block, sprayed it down with some brake cleaner, got it good and clean and dry. That way we confirm we've got no leaks around that filter. And I don't know if some of you may or may not have noticed, I neglected to do something while putting that filter on, something that I usually do, and that is put as much oil as you can get without spilling it out when you turn it sideways in the oil filter. Meaning fill up the oil filter as much as you can get in it. Of course, you turn it sideways, it's going to pour out, but at least half fill it. That way there's that much more oil already in the filter and less oil that the pump has to fill up while it's running. That way it doesn't take as long for your oil pressure to come up. So on those occasions that I forget to do that, what I do is I disconnect the ignition. On this one you can just leave the key off. On a car you can unplug the coil wire or whatever, and I just crank the engine until I see that gauge starting to move just a little bit. Since this is just a little 6-volt, I'm not going to crank it up to full pressure, and that way you know that it's not going to run for a little bit with no pressure, and you hear that very scary knock for a split second. I don't like that one bit. And there you go, it jumped right up because I did that. Okay, now normally I'm seeing 40 pounds of pressure. It's just below it for some reason. There it goes. Okay, we better make sure it's not leaking. Tractor sounds good. We didn't hear any noises. Don't see anything coming out. Being as it's under pressure, I'd say if it's going to leak, right, we probably would see something already, maybe. Looking good, sounding good. my oil change a lot easier. I like the adapter. Actually, after looking at it, it's something a guy could make if he wants to take the time. But there's a lot of things we buy that we probably could make. Pressure's coming up a little bit. I could have sworn it was right at 40 even before. Maybe not. Yeah, it's probably that old gauge. That is the original gauge on this. The only gauge I've ever replaced on this is the amp gauge. Temperature and oil are original. So, pretty amazing since considering that this tractor is set out in the weather most of its life. Most of the time when I've had it, I either kept it in the garage until I tore the truck apart, or the shed, and now I keep it in the tent. So that's sounding pretty good though. Okay, we're going to go ahead, put the hood on this thing, show you the rubber bumper kit. And I may, since it's kind of drying out, I bet the grass is still too wet to cut. I may make a few passes, get that field down today if it cuts okay. It's going to be wet though. Okay, one last thing I'm going to show you that we're doing. As you can see, well, you can now. Let me pull the camera back. We got the hood and everything on it. Forgive me for the angle. I still got the camera on the tripod. Don't feel like taking it off. And hood wasn't too bad. A little bit of a wrestling match, but that's the way stuff like it goes. One last thing I'm going to show you is, I'm on record on it. Yep, sure am. These little anti-rattle rubber bumpers. There's 6 of them. I just put one in right here. Just want to see how hard it was to get them worked in. It takes a little bit of time and patience to get them in, but as you can see, you got these little grooves here. They go in these little slots, and you got to make sure these are locked in below the bottom side of your fender. The way I did it last time, just kind of pushed them in like that. Stick the screwdriver in this little hole here. So it just takes a little patience. I probably should put a little bit of lube, a little bit of oil, Vaseline, something like that on it. WD-40, whatever. But the thing is, if you get them slick, they're more likely to work themselves back out too. So, and once you get it locked in, you can reach under, pull on it, make sure that the tabs are spread apart on the bottom side of the fender, and that's it. Let me get the rest of these, and we'll see if this thing, how many rattles we hopefully got rid of. Okay, I just kept finding things to fix. There's a wasp there, so I don't want to sting me. I don't like wasps. If you want to call me an animal killer, go ahead, but I don't want to be stung. But anyway, as you can see, got the hood on, got the rubber bumpers in, hood shut. You almost need to hold that down. There we go. I was pushing it the wrong way. There's that. Hard to do everything one-handed. But it doesn't rattle. At least it didn't when I tried it the last time. Hopefully it won't make a liar out of me. That rattle you heard was a seat. Need a piece of rubber under there. But as you can see, no noises. Just the lifters now. That's what it used to sound like. Now it doesn't do that. Another thing I went ahead and fixed, this was hanging loose. That nut right there, which is a 5/8 18 thread, fine thread, was stripped out. I didn't have one, so I found an old metric one and ran a 5/8 18 tap through it. That fixed that. This looks like it needs to be tightened. I can't budge it either way. It's on there tight. I'm leaving it alone. And another little surprise, if it doesn't make a liar out of me, fixed my headlight too. Had a loose ground wire which goes up here, down to the bracket of the tank, and the switcher's pad, which is up inside of there somewhere. But anyway, everything, I'm kind of happy with everything. The reason I don't have a headlight in here, I need to get another clamp. This one right here, mine was rusted away and won't hold it no more. I got to order that. I got another bulb somewhere, and I should be able to just plug it in. Right here's the power, so it won't. I need to take that off really. And that's the ground. This is another ground that actually grounds into this. think I might do a mowing video, but it'll be separate from this video. I'm going to go inside and grab something to eat. I haven't had lunch, and it's coming up on 4 o'clock. So, looks like everything's working good. Most of our noises are gone now. Looking good. Hydraulic pump, sounding good. No groaning, complaining, rattling out of here. Just some old solid lifters that got probably a little bit too much clearance in them, but I'm not fooling with that for now. Old tractor's running sweet. Fires right up. Oil pressure, looking good. So that concludes another tractor video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Next video will probably be some mowing. We're going to see how it holds up to, I may mow this whole field today and this short one that I mow every other week. These I just knock down about once a month, one at a time. It's not really mine. I used to get paid for it. The guy turned into kind of a jerk, so I stopped mowing, and then he let it grow up into woods, which I was almost fine with because the trees were starting to take over. And then he paid some guy to come out here and strip it down to dirt. And I just didn't like that one bit, so I started mowing it every now and then. It keeps the neighbors in the subdivision from sneaking over here and smoking dope and everything else. So mostly the younger ones, I guess. What can you do about it? It's, subdivisions are moving into farmlands everywhere. It happens. Anyway, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and stay tuned for more.